The old man sits at the head of the oak, pours two glasses, lets the silence speak in smoke. His hands don't shake, his eyes don't look away. He carved this kingdom out of blood in Birmingham clay. He built the walls, he buried every threat. Now his firstborn son is the only dead. He slides the ring across the table slow, says, "You know what comes next, I taught you so." The portraits watching from the wall, every king must stand, sir, when the shadows call. Crown, crown, heavy is the crown. You gotta put your father in the ground. Ground, ground, crown, crown, crown. Blood runs down. The throne don't care who wears it now. Heavy is the crown. Crown, crown. You gotta put your father in the ground. How to read a man before he crosses the line. He said, "A king who dies in bed dies a fool. The only exit worthy is the one you choose." I pulled the hammer back beneath the cloth. He closed his eyes like a man who'd paid the cost. No flinch, no prayer, no begging on his knees. Just a whisper, "Make it clean, son, make it clean." The portraits are watching from the wall. Every king must stand, sir, when the kingdom calls. Before his body hit the floor, sat in his chair and locked every door. The crown fit perfect, that's the part that kills. A dead man's warmth still on the gold. Still, still. Forgive me, Father. The throne don't care who wears it now. Heavy is the crown. Crown, crown. I put my father in the ground. Heavy is the crown. Is always waiting. I count the bodies through the numbers. That's my gift. Every dollar tells a story. Every payment leaves a rift. Page 47, column B, a monthly wire. 15,000 to a name that set my chest on fire. Her maiden name in black ink, dated every first. The same account the Federals used to quench their thirst. 12 months of payments while she kissed me every night. 12 months of honey, welcome home, while she sold our life. No, 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 liar, liar, every page a liar. She burned the books but couldn't kill the fire. Just a wire. 12 months of treason from the woman I admired. Liar, 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 she couldn't kill the fire. Liar. Every page. I brought the ledger home inside a leather case. Set it on the kitchen table, watch the color leave her face. She reached for my hand, I pulled the page instead. Pointed at her maiden name and watched the marriage shred. How much am I worth? I asked her standing still. She said, they threaten me. I said, everybody will. The numbers don't negotiate. The numbers never lie. 15,000 every month to watch your husband die. And put it in the safe. Poured her wine and kissed her on her face. Some men would shoot, some men would run and hide. I chose the cruelest thing. I let her stay inside. Stay and live with it. Liar, liar, every page a liar. She burned the books but couldn't kill the fire. Fire, fire, fire. Liar, liar, love was just a wire. I keep the ledger open till the day that I retire. Liar, 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 she couldn't kill the fire. Numbers never lie, but I wish to God they could. I've been cutting hair on Halsted Street since '89. Every head that sat beneath my blade had secrets and a crime. I know who killed the butcher's son. I know who burned the store. I know which cop takes envelopes behind the liquor store. You learn to hold a razor and a secret just the same. Steady hand, steady mouth, that's the barber's game. But yesterday at 4:15, the bell above the door rang in the one face I've been praying wouldn't cross my floor. Lord, not him. I know, the barber always knows. Who's buried in the rose. I know, but this time when it shows, the man who's in my chair is the man I gotta close. I know. The barber always knows every secret. He sat down heavy, said, just a trim, old friend. I wrapped the cloth around his neck and tried to breathe again. The phone call came last Tuesday from a man without a name. Said the next time he sits down, you give us place and frame. My hands have never shaken, 37 years of steel, but the lather on his jawline made the whole room tilt and reel. He closed his eyes and trusted me as Adam's apple bear, and I held the straightest razor to the most dangerous man's prayer. Steady, steady hands, his throat, my blade. Me 20, shook my hand, said, see you Thursday, Jack. I watched him cross the street and knew he's never coming back. The call I make tonight will put his name beneath the stone, and every Thursday after that, I'll cut the air alone. Thursday, Jack, never coming back. I know, the barber always knows. Who lives, who dies, who's buried in the rose. I know, but this time when it shows, the man who trusted me the most is the man I had to close. The barber always knows. The bell above the door won't ring the same no more. The barber always knows, and that's the barber's war. 5 years married, thought I knew her every move. She's laughing too loud, and he's sliding in the groove. Anniversary night, champagne burning through the room. Something in her smile, carrying the weight of doom. He poured a wine before I reached across the table, touched her hand a second longer than a friend is able. Followed her eyes when she slipped out through the door. He walked out 30 seconds later. That's when I knew the score. She danced with my best man while I stood at the bar. She burned every promise beneath that wedding star. He was my brother, she was my whole world. Now I'm standing in the ashes of the lies they unfurled. Oh, she burned, Lord have mercy. Walked into the parking garage, cold and slow. Heard her say his name soft, in a way I'll never let go. 30 seconds in the dark, rearranged my whole life. The man I trusted most, she was still my wife. Came back to the table, raised my glass with steady hands, made the second toast like a man who understands. To loyalty I said, and the blood that never breaks. He looked me in the eye, and I saw everything at stake. No, 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 burn, baby, burn. Table, pour the last of the whiskey while I was still able. Thought about my father and the code he left behind. Some wounds you don't survive, some truths you can't unsign. She danced with my best man while I stood at the bar. She burned every promise beneath that wedding star. He was my brother, she was my whole world. Now I'm standing in the ashes of the lies they unfurled. She bottle is dry. My best man got everything, and I got the why. Lord have mercy on us all. Met her in a library on a rain-soaked afternoon. She was reading Steinbeck and humming an old tune. Didn't ask her name, she didn't ask for mine. 3 months of coffee, 3 months feeling fine. Then I saw the photograph above her father's chair. Federal prosecutor, the man who put my father there. Same eyes, same jawline, same righteous holy fire. She had her father's name, I had my father's gun for hire. My father's gun, both of us condemned before our love had begun. She kissed me like a man without a debt to call, and I held her like a soldier who refused to fall. Sat me down at the back of the social club. Said the daughter of the federal had to be a stud. Pop's old enforcer slid a brass key across the floor. Said a building 4 a.m., no questions anymore. Walked the 17 blocks with that cold key in my hand. Stood beneath a window in a city that wouldn't understand. Took the ring she gave me, set it on the windowsill. Then I walked back to the club where the family stood still.
No questions, no questions, cold as the steel.
She woke up to a ring on cold porcelain glass. Wondered what God she'd offended to deserve this kind of pass. I took my father's name back, made my mother's son proud. But the suit I wore that morning felt like a goddamn shroud. Every night I see a ring sitting on that windowsill outside.
Father's name,
Father's gun.
every night,
Every night, every night, she had her father's name. I had my father's gun, and neither of us won, and neither of us won. Neither of us won.
neither of us won.
Neither of us won. My grandfather built this house with blood and borrowed time. Laid the marble floors himself and carved each corner fine. I ran these streets at 20, wore the family ring with pride. Kept the coat above the money, kept my brothers close inside. Marcus stood beside me 12 years, never missed a call. We split the table even, never let each other fall. I gave him keys to every room and trusted every word. But marble floors don't lie, boy. They remember what occurred. Last Tuesday, federal photographs spread across my table like a funeral wreath. No, no. My name, my roots, my safe house, everything beneath. Blood on the marble, blood on my name. Oh Lord, the man I call my brother played a devil's game. Took the crown I carried and he sat my throne. Blood on the marble. I found the wire inside his jacket, pressed against his chest. 14 months of recordings, every secret I possessed. Son of a his eyes went wide, his hands went up. He started with the lies, but 40 years of reading, man, don't miss what's in a man's eyes. She was in the car outside, the woman I would trust. Now I know she counted bodies while I handed her my love. Lord have mercy. Two people that I bled for turned my kingdom into dust. A marble tomb for both of them. The only thing that's just house is built on who you choose. Pick your circle wrong once, boy, and you've got nothing left to lose. Nothing. I chose them both like family. I believe what I was shown. Now the marble's red with silence, and I sit this throne alone. Blood on the marble, blood on my name. Oh, it's done now. The man I called my brother played a devil's game. Blood on the marble, cold as the stone, cold as the stone. I took back what he stole from me, and I sit here alone, alone, alone. Blood on the marble. She knew the house always wins, always wins. Glass breaking in the distance.
15 years behind the wall, I kept my shoes clean, ironed my shirt every Sunday, read the books of kings and queens. They told me, boss, the empire's safe, the code is carved in stone. I walked out through the prison gate and found a broken throne. The club smells different now, like chemicals and greed. The boys wear gold on rotten teeth and call it what they need. They shot a mother on a Tuesday for a couple $1,000 old. In my day we had a code. These animals don't know the road. Lord, Lord have mercy. Gone, gone, the code is gone, gone, gone. The gentleman is dead. They killed him while I was gone. Gone, gone, the honor's gone, gone, gone. I built a house of rules, and now there's nothing left to stand on. Gone, gone, gone. They killed the code while I was gone.
Oh, gone.
Every rule,
Every rule.
my underboss wears trainers to a sit down at the table, shoots a man on camera like he thinks he's in a fable. They post the bodies on the internet for likes and fame. I spent 15 years in silence just to protect the name. I called a meeting at the back room of the bar. Every seat was full, but not a single man had scars. They smiled with porcelain teeth and shook my weathered hand, and I knew right then a gentleman's the last one left to stand. Not a scar among them. remembers me. The room still holds the air, but the men who fill this building now don't know what honor means. I'm the last one speaking Latin in a room that speaks and screams. I'm the last one. Ah, gone, gone. The code is gone, gone, gone. The gentleman is dead. They buried him while I was gone. Gone, gone. The honor's gone, gone, gone. I built a house of kings, and now there's wolves where men belong. Gone, gone, gone. I'm the last gentleman, and I'm gone. The last gentleman pours his last glass in a room full of wolves who forgot how to ask. "5 years gone, I walked back through the iron gate. Found my wife behind my desk and dinner running late. She wore my ring on her right hand, the left one held a pen, signing off on shipments that I used to call my men. The books were clean, the money tripled, territory spread. She'd done in 20 months what took me 7 years of dread. I stood there in the doorway in my present issue shoes, and the queen looked up and smiled like she had nothing left to lose.
My chair.
That's my chair. She won't bow, bow. She won't bow, bow, bow.
Bow, bow.
She built the throne while I was gone, and she won't bow down now. She won't bow, bow. Silk and gunpowder vow. The queen became the king, and she won't bow, bow, bow. She won't bow.
Silk and gunpowder.
She won't bow down, won't bow.
My empire.
Her crown. She poured me whiskey in a glass I didn't recognize. Crystal from Milan I used to drink from mason jars and lies. Welcome home, she said. I kept the lights on while you slept. I said, I built this house. She said, I'm the reason that it's kept. The captain's at the table.
used to be my guarantee. I grabbed her arm, she didn't flinch, just looked me in the eye, said, "You can have the name, baby, but the power's mine to fly."
She didn't flinch.
Power's mine. I loved her for the softness that she kept beneath the steel. Now I fear her for the empire that she made completely real. Do I bow to my own wife, or do I burn what she has grown? Either way I lose the war. She turned my house into her own.
My wife, my queen,
My enemy, ah, she won't bow, bow. She won't bow, bow, bow. She built the throne while I was gone, and she won't bow down now. She won't bow, bow. Silk and gunpowder vow. I came home a king, but she's the empire now. She won't bow, and maybe she shouldn't bow.
won't bow,
Won't bow.
won't bow, won't
Silk and gunpowder,
bow.
that's what she's made of. I built the kingdom, she made it love.
Let's drink on the house. That's what the barman poured. I've been sitting here since midnight, running through the Lord. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., I'll walk through federal doors. 20 years of running ins on government floors. The barman wipes the glass and doesn't say a word. He's heard confessions darker than a priest has ever heard. I tell him about the bodies, about the cash, about the code. He just nods and pours another on the road. Pour me one more, one more, one more. I'm walking through that door, door, door. Pour me one more for the man I was before. Tomorrow I'm a number on a concrete floor. One more, one more, one more. I'm walking through that door.
One more barman,
Pour it slow.
one more barman.
I had a woman once who smelled like Sunday rain. She left when the indictments started calling out my name. too. She's 17 this spring. She won't know her daddy wore a crown and not a ring. The barman lights a cigarette and leans against the shelf. I ask him, would you turn yourself in or kill yourself? He looks me in the eye, takes a long, slow drag, says nothing. First time silence hit me like a sandbag. Lord have mercy.
Nothing.
He said nothing. I wrote 3 letters, sealed them with a match. One for my daughter, one for the life I can't snatch back. The 3rd one's for the barman, says thank you for the dark. Some men need a witness, not a priest to hear the heart. Thank you for the dark. Pour me one more, one more, one more. I'm walking through that door. Pour me one more for the man I was before. Tomorrow I'm a ghost on a concrete floor. One more, one more, one more. I'm walking through that door.
One more. One more.
One more,
One more.
one more,
One more.
one more. The barman closed the tab, turned off the amber light, and I walked into the morning like a man who lost the fight.
One more. One more. One more. One more.
Black suits and lilies in a church that smells like stone. The boss is in the casket and the empire's on its own. They filed in one by one to kiss the ring upon his hand, and the man behind the podium began to speak as planned. He was a father, he was a king, he was a lion among men. The church said amen. I said nothing, I just leaned in, because I saw the mortuary man adjust the satin fold, and underneath the boss's hand, a photograph in gold. What's that? What is that? He knew. The dead man knew. The photograph is proof. The photograph is truth. He knew. Before they put him through, the man who killed the king is giving the eulogy too. He knew. The dead man always knew. He knew. The dead man knew. I slid beside the casket while they sang the second hymn. Took the photo from beneath his hand, cold fingers, golden grim. The image, two men at a table. One is pouring wine, the other's slipping powder, with a smile that's by design. The man behind the podium is dabbing at his tears, talking about brotherhood and 40 loyal years. But the dead man kept the evidence where only God could see, and tucked it in his dying suit for someone just like me. Poison, that's poison in the glass. 40 loyal years of lies. The boss knew he was dying. That last month he was calm, too calm for a man of war, too steady for the storm. He chose the casket, chose the suit, chose where to put the proof. He orchestrated justice from beneath the church's roof. From the grave, justice from the grave. He knew, the dead man knew. The photograph is proof, the photograph is true. He knew before they put him through. The killer gave the speech, but the dead man's not through. He knew. The dead man always knew. I put the photo in my coat, shook the killer's hand, smiled and said, beautiful speech. He doesn't know the dead man's plan. He knew. The dead always know. He knew. Seven floors above me, there's a girl in white, dancing with a man I'll never meet tonight. The bass comes through the concrete like a second heartbeat. Muffled violins and laughter, God, it sounds so sweet. I pressed my ear against the ceiling, caught her laugh, the same laugh she had at 7 running through the bath. My baby's getting married and I'm counting cracks below. 7 floors between a father and the only love I know. My baby girl. Dance, baby, dance, dance, dance. Daddy's 7 floors below your last dance. Dance, dance, spinning, dance, dance, dance. I can hear the music, but I'll never get the chance. My baby's dancing and I'm 7 floors from grace.
Dance, baby.
7th floor. They'll come for me at midnight when the guests have cleared the hall. The same men who walked her down the aisle will walk me through the wall. I wonder if she knows I'm here. I wonder if she cares. I haven't seen her face in 14 years of prison there. The ceiling shakes, they're playing something fast now, something free. I close my eyes and see her spinning, 3 years old on my knee. She used to stand on daddy's shoes and hold my fingers tight. Now she's dancing 7 floors above my last cold night.
14 years.
If music travels down through stone and steel and time, then hear me, baby girl. This last slow dance is mine.
Hear me.
Dance, dance, baby, dance, dance, dance. Daddy's 7 floors below your last dance. Dance, one more dance, dance, dance. I can hear the music and it's my only chance. Dance, dance, dance. My baby's dancing and her daddy's out of grace. The music stopped at midnight. The concrete went cold. 7 floors above me, a new life, a new world.